entrepreneurship, it should be done with a lot of passion. So it is not just for money. Sometimes a lot of entrepreneurs may make money when they are employed in some other company. So it should be that passion. And what happens is when you have this entrepreneur journey, when you see your product being used and when people are getting benefited, that's where you get more satisfied, and that's how you get the joy.
Hello everybody, welcome to Entrepreneurship Simplified, and this show is going to introduce you to the real entrepreneurs and the best of the ideas which can actually take you to the roots of entrepreneurship. Means real life challenges, real life situations and real life failures and successes, and then how these entrepreneurs find their way through these challenges so that you can pick up this knowledge and then use it to your benefit for you to realize the dream of becoming a successful entrepreneur much faster. And this show is being done in association with Young Indians. Young Indians is a movement of Indian youth to converge, lead and also influence the future of India. And as an integral part of CAI, Confederation of Indian Industries, it's a non-government, not-for-profit organization, but led by the industry and also managed by the industry, which is playing a key role in the India's success. And if you want to be part of the India's growth, YI is a place to be. And today's guest is a very special guest and also a good friend of mine. He completed his electrical engineering in US and also did an intern in Dell. However, he decided to come back and settle down with a manufacturing company which is part of their family business, only to bring in all the latest technologies and innovation to India. And now I can proudly say that he is part of some of the milestones of the industry in several aspects, which we are going to talk. And he has keen interest in innovating solutions in IoT and also smart cities and a lot of other smart solutions. He is actually part of 𝐒𝐸𝐬𝐵's Technology Council. He is also part of as a branch member in Indo-American Chamber. And he also was actually served as a chair for Young Indians Vijayawada chapter. And today, help me to introduce the young and dynamic leader and vice president of Efftronics, 𝐦𝐨𝐳𝐫𝐞 Dasri. Hi Anvesh, how are you doing?
I'm good, Rajesh.
Even before we really start, I'm just so amazed because you completed your education in US, right? What was the motivation? Because I know I spent almost more than a decade in Dubai. Generally, what happens when you're settled in that kind of places, you're more used to the kind of organized living, right? What was the thinking process behind you to coming back from US and actually join your family business?
Rajesh, I would like to say that before I went to US, I used to visit our factory while I was in childhood. Like in my holidays, I used to come and look at what is happening. I may not be understanding all the aspects of business at that time, but there is kind of a bonding which we had with the industry because this company was started while I was almost when I was born, this company was started. So that kind of bonding we have. So even when I was going to US also, I have very concrete plans that I want to come back and work for my father in this company. So that's why it was very simple decision for me. So I just went for education, gained the knowledge and then returned back and I started working in Efftronics.
Wonderful. And let me ask you, right, generally one of the biggest thing with family business is how do I kind of, convey all my message to my father or, probably if it is grandfathers and then still find your way through. Did you find any difficulties in the beginning to find your way through? Because obviously you will be having a second generation thinking. I think you are second generation, right?
Yes.
Thinking
True.
compared to the previous, right?
Yeah.
So do you have any challenges in the beginning to find your way through?
Actually, what I would like to say is in family run business, that was very right question. There will be a lot of challenges when there is a generation change and all. But unlike a lot of family business, we run our company more systematically or very organized. We have got a complete organization structure. There has been various departments, there are managers, and there is a structure of vice presidents. Everything is in place. So what I did was, when I started my career in this organization, I started with a basic as an engineer, like how any new recruit starts in a company. So I started my career as a basic engineer who has a knowledge of hardware, firmware, or software knowledge. So I started learning about the company and products, then started working in building products. That's how I started growing in the company, and later now I'm in a key role of taking some decisions for the company or making some strategies for the company. So that's my journey. So in a nutshell, what I would like to say is, it was quite simple for me because of how we managed our company from the initial days, because it's not very it is not like an unorganized industry. Even as we are into IT and electronics, this is much more matured industry compared to other sectors.
Yeah, I mean, I can totally relate to that because my father, it was an unorganized thing. It was a lot to do with the supermarket products and all. He always used to say, you have to start from the scratch. I mean, maybe it is there something to do with the generation of your father and my father.
True.
The point was, he always says, start from the ground.
Yes.
And you should know almost everything that happens in, every level. And that gives some kind of maybe belongingness, right?
It's not only belongingness, Rajesh. What I feel is, we get the control over the business. So when I start from the, let's say, as an engineer, today now I know how a product is made. So today, if some engineer comes and says, these are the challenges, I'm unable to fulfill the customer promises. So we know what are the, how we can solve those problems. We can give some ideas, or what is the solution like, or we may give some hints to the engineer. So what I feel is, when we start from the ground, we have complete control over the business. Generally, if we just come back and just be a director or vice president, even people also doesn't trust us. They don't think that we can solve their problems, or they don't trust on our capabilities. When you start from the ground, your colleagues or co-employees will also have a faith in you, that you know how to run the business, or your decisions are right. That kind of trust we can form with our colleagues or co-workers.
Wow, that is a wonderful point. Knowing actually from the ground will give you the control and the trust for all the employees to understand that yes, my leader knows what what kind of solution I need. But that brings me to a very important point. Is it really required? I'm talking especially for the young generation who really want to start the business. Is it really required for everyone to start the same way, the journey from the absolute ground level to growing an entrepreneur? Because nowadays we're seeing people, oh, I'm a CEO and he has a laptop, he sits and he's in. And within a year or so, because I was part of a startup system for more than 3 years as an investor. So somebody comes and he says, hey, this is my plan. And it's just an idea. There's no concept and all. So what do you suggest? Is it really required that everybody should go through these steps? Or is it okay for people to just directly jump into few steps ahead?
People can take jumps and they can be a founder. But what I feel is, even as a founder in startups, they do multiple jobs. They may be a CEO for the board or other investors to present with. But on other hand, he has to solve, or he will be like a programmer sometimes. Let's say if we look at some of the startup ecosystem in India. So what happens is, they run multiple roles. At one time in office, they may be an engineer or a coder. And when they're presenting to the board, they may be a CFO. So what happens is, they have to take multiple shirts and take multiple roles as a startup. So what I suggest is, it is not required to take all the steps or ladder. What happens is, it depends on how your size of organization is. That's what I believe in. So what happens is, when the size of organization is small, even if you take multiple steps ahead and become a CEO, the risk or everything will be small. But when it is a bigger organization, what happens is, if you directly go to the top position without understanding much of a ground reality, your decisions will not be right. That's what I feel. So it depends on what kind of industry we are in, and also what is the size of industry we are talking about.
So for the new people, when they start, what you're suggesting is they should have the ground reality into their perception.
Yes.
That will make them a better decision makers.
Right.
And also allow the trust to build among the employees.
Yes.
Amazing. This point is so much very important for people who want to start. But tell me one thing, Efftronics is now 36 years you've completed?
35 completed.
35. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
35 long years.
Yes.
And I want to ask, right? You became literally an industry leader in terms of providing this kind of black box kind of a thing,
Yes.
right? From absolutely not having any market share to having 95% of all railways in the whole of India has some kind of product.
Yes.
What kind of a journey it is, right? It must have been something really amazing. Can you share something with that?
Yes, it was like a lot of hard work of the team as well as the support of our customers. Basically, how it was started was when this journey started like almost 20 years back. So we were working with railways from last 2 decades. So what happened was we had a lot of interactions with customers. Basically, we always believe in solving customer problems. So that's how we innovate. We used to listen to customer problems and we used to provide a technology solution to the customer problems. So they just face some challenges of, I am unable to understand what is happening in the station. So sometimes a lot of incidents I still remember what my seniors used to say me is, let's say even if I go to a lot of railway stations today, what happens is, like when I go back to 20 years back, the station master used to have a complete control. Whenever there is any failure, even because of the station master, he used to blame a department called signaling. So that department is always a scapegoat. What they say is the signal is not working, or I am unable to operate the signals, or send a train from my station to the next station. Like that, they used to blame a lot of things on the signaling department in railways. So they wanted a product which can be a recorder, which gives us an input that this system is functioning, there is no failure, so that it is a evidence to other departments in railways. That's how this product was started. So later what happened was we started with one station. So they saw the results. Then they themselves, with word of mouth, they published in their railway journals and other areas. Even in CST, there will be some conferences with railway colleagues and all. So they used to present on this product. That's how it went from one zone or one division in railways to complete 16 zones and 68 divisions across the country. So now, after looking at this performance, the railway board has taken a policy decision that this instrument is very important and we need to have this equipped in every station. That's how we can improve the performance. And then there came a standards organization in railways, which with our help made a standard specification of this product. So that's how it's like, it was a product which got evolved over the 20 years of journey. So it's not like overnight it happened. So there is a lot of steps we did, and also there are a lot of value additions we added in the product. It's not like the product which we offered at 20 years back and what we are offering today is completely different. So now how we have like 10th generation iPhone, we used to have different generations of product where we added a lot of value additions into the product. So
wow. I mean, I got really 3 important points. I'm now seeing why you're so successful in this specific, niche is you're always focusing on customer problems.
yes,
Not on what you're offering, but customer problems and creating solution for it.
right.
Second thing is adaptability. You're adapting over last 20 years, wherein customer himself saying that this is part of my new station spec.
Yes.
And that's phenomenal. And how many people now I see, right? Especially when I see young generation, this is my idea. I think this will work. And then I just go, right?
True.
There is no proof of concept. As I
Yes.
said, when I used to sit in the boardrooms where they present, right? This is my idea. This has to work. I think approximately so many people will use. There is no proof of concept. I think if we are actually looking into the problems, the bigger the problem,
Yeah.
the bigger the potential.
True.
And the way that you are doing, actually it is impacting the whole country.
Yes.
In a way, everybody is impacted
True.
in terms of efficiency, right? Nowadays,
Yes.
I feel happy.
Thank you. Thank you. So I would like to share some of the examples of what is our contribution to Indian Railways. So today, we have created a lot of analytics with the data we are getting from these instruments. So because of that, one direct impact is we are able to reduce the accidents happening in Indian Railways.
Wow.
So because a lot of accidents today happen because, let's say, a loco pilot, when he crosses a red signal, he is unable to control the train operations. Whenever a loco pilot crosses a red signal, it is always a probability of having an accident. So we create a lot of analytics in real time whenever such incidents happen. And the railway used to issue some notices or warnings to those loco pilots, so that a lot of discipline came in the system. Similarly, we created a lot of analytics to identify the failures of the product. So whenever some system is about to fail, we used to give a predictive kind of analytics. Because of that, the availability of assets increased. If you look at the KPIs of railways, every minute delay of a train will create a revenue loss of 2 lakh rupees.
Oh.
So if
my
we are
God.
able to save multiple minutes, that itself is a huge revenue to the national transporter.
Wow. So you're talking about financial efficiency.
Yes.
You're also talking about time efficiency. And most important thing is you're saving lives.
Yes.
Wow. Kudos to that.
Thank you.
But I just want to ask this question, right? I always used to have, when I was young, right? What is this, right? I always used to see, road is not good. I used to blame. And, I go to a restaurant. I don't get food. I used to blame.
Right.
I didn't know at that time. And there are two ways. Even now I'm seeing the generation is even more little bit dangerous. Some of them where they're in the blaming mode. Right now, according to me, entrepreneurs are superheroes.
Yes.
But the biggest thing is they're not born superheroes. They are self-made superheroes by rising to the occasion every moment. Now, you have a choice either actually to blame and move away with a negative mood,
right,
or rise up to the occasion and become an entrepreneur to it. And now I'm seeing clearly, I'm witnessing that you are a superhero for so many aspects of railways, right? Have you applied this into any other fields?
Yes.
Or any other industries other than railways?
Yeah, today as a business, we are focusing more on railways because that's where our most of the revenues comes with. But still, we want to diversify into other verticals. So today, our know-how of railways, we want to use this know-how into other segments, as you said. So we are now focusing on smart cities. So India wants to build 100 smart cities. So in that 100 smart cities, we are focusing on few areas of problems which we have today. Today, if we look at our water distribution system, still a lot of people lack adequate water. There is untimeliness of delivery and there is very poor quality of water which is being distributed. So how we can use the technology and solve these problems? Today, we applied this to our own city in Vijayawada, where the unaccounted for water was at 32%. Using this IoT, analytics and everything, we were able to bring down that 32% of unaccounted for water to 8%.
Really?
So which is like millions of gallons being saved every day.
Is it unaccounted or is it unaccounted means in terms of billing?
It is not only billing, it is like wastages. It may be overflows, it may be leakages, all this. So what happens is every day millions of gallons of water is treated and sent to overhead tanks. From overhead tanks, it is distributed to the household. In this complete distribution journey, a lot of water gets leaked. So it is maybe inefficient pipelines or people not closing the walls at right times. So these are many reasons. So we identify where these unaccounted for water is and give an alert to the maintainers or the operators.
Okay. Oh, amazing. Let me ask this question. This is something, as I told you last time, as part of Young Indians, we reached up to more than 5,000 students.
Yes.
And only 2 people, you're talking about 0.0005% who said, I would love to be an entrepreneur. This generation, many of them are actually scared of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And I want to ask if there is any one single aspect, if they can grasp and understand, it's not about difficult or easy. Most of the people are struggling to find where do I start. So what is your advice in terms of where actually a dreaming entrepreneur, because this guy is not an entrepreneur yet. So somebody, a dreaming entrepreneur is saying, I want to be an entrepreneur, right? Where do they start? And especially, I'm also considering Indian economy as far as also as a Vijayawada.
So, I mean, in my belief, what happens is entrepreneurship, it should be done with a lot of passion. So, it is not just for money because sometimes a lot of entrepreneurs may make money when they are employed in some other company. So, it should be that passion. And what happens is when you have this entrepreneur journey, when you see your product being used and when people are getting benefited, that's where you get more satisfied and that's how you get the joy. So my belief is whenever any dream, anybody want to become an entrepreneur, now what I feel is it should be more, how I frame it is, now the companies are becoming more digital. So there is a lot of opportunities of being a, like now if we look at Google or Uber or a lot of these, like even Tesla, so these are all like digital companies which are valued in billions and trillions. So the main power today is to the algorithms and the logics which we are building. So what happens is nowadays when I want to start any company, I don't need crores or much money to start a company.
Yeah.
So that is the beauty of current system compared to what we had in 10, 20 years back. When 10, 20 years back, when I want to start a company, let's say even if I talk about our own electronics company, what happens, you need to invest lakhs and crores of rupee to have the infrastructure. Today, in an electronic company, if I want to manufacture a card, that machine which is used to manufacture this board is in crores. So somebody need to invest that much money to build an electronics company. But now all that is available with service. If you have a digital design, you can outsource your design to a third-party manufacturer to manufacture it, and they will give it. So you're not investing those crores. So what is important is, as you rightly said, they need to have an idea, and then they should focus more on this idea to be how I execute this idea. And my point is, you can start very small with these digital tools and digital technologies. So build some algorithms or digital designs. That's what I feel is very risk-free, and you can grow as big as any other company. So that's my suggestion to a lot of new entrepreneurs who want to start as an entrepreneur.
That's really brilliant. So now the entry point is not that big. This is in a simple way. And if you can't do it now, very difficult chances that you can do anytime. But there is an important point right here in this moment. Is it always a success journey for you, or are you expected, or are they expected to face certain failures?
Actually, failure will be part of life. So in any entrepreneur journey, there will be a failure. So today we develop more than 50 to 60 products in our 35 years of journey. So all are not as successful as where we got 95% market share. Let's say we are working on LED lighting and some products where we still are trying to capture the market. Or there are some products where we haven't even seen the light of customer. Maybe that are still in our own labs and which need to be even shown to customer or get customer nod. So what happens is there is a success and there is a failure. There will be ups and there will be downs. So what I feel is the entrepreneurship journey will be like a sine wave. So there will be an up, there is a down. So what we should do is whenever there is an up, we should conserve our resources so that it will help us to come back when there is a downfall. So let's say this year we have COVID. So if we don't have enough financial support while we had a profits in previous year, this year we may not be able to sustain. So like that, what happens is there is ups and downs. When there is an up, we should conserve some of it for the downfall. And similarly, there will be a failure. So what I say to my team or my colleagues is, when we do 10 products, maybe one is successful, but that one product will help us sustain. Because that product will be huge successful, which can pay off for all these 9 failures.
I mean, maybe not just sustain, flourish.
Flourish, true.
I mean, without that kind of an experience, you would not have actually captured 95% of the railways, right? But see, I mean, it's not just with this. As per statistics, I was also part of Indian Angel Network. As part of the statistics, 97% of the startups fail. Only 3% succeed, which means, because that is told to us as an investor, hey, if you invest whatever, like, they used to have some minimum like 5 lakhs or something like that as an angel investment. And if you invest in 100 companies, likely that you can get profit
Only three.
on 3. Now, I'm taking the same perspective in entrepreneurship, which means if you're going to start 100 ideas, there are only 3 ideas which may work, isn't it?
True.
So you need to be ready. You need to be prepared to experience a failure as a learning, like you said, right?
Yes.
And, I mean, I never like to actually use the word called failure, but failure is a learning process. So don't think that you have an idea, you start, and you will taste the success and you will become a billionaire. It doesn't work that way. So be prepared to ensure that you're okay to go through the journey. And again, as a financial thing, right, I always call money as oxygen for the business.
Right.
For somebody who is going to start a business, what do you think? Now, the barrier is very low. But do you think somebody who doesn't have any money at all, they should really kind of start?
Yeah, nowadays, as I said earlier, now money is not any barrier to be an entrepreneur. So there are a lot of ways where people have, if you have a good idea, and you should be having an executable plan. It's not like people have ideas, even where I give a lot of importance is on execution. So people will have ideas. Every day we can get multiple ideas, but you should have an executing plan, and also you should start executing. So once you start executing this, then people will believe in you, and there are a lot of people nowadays. There is a lot of matured VCs, and also there is a lot of good ecosystem which is evolving nowadays. So I don't feel there is a barrier of money in being an entrepreneur.
To give a statistic, just a year back, the statistic is around before COVID. As a VC fund, as a country, Saudi Arabia, and also another country, Japan, they set aside $100 billion. Means if your idea is good, and if it is possibility with an execution plan, like you said, there will be people who are queuing up. And of course, there are matured people where unless they see it can be executed, they won't do it, right?
Right.
So have that execution plan, which is idea to reality. The only difference is the execution plan, isn't it? And let me ask another thing, which I experienced as well, but I would like to know in your words. Means being an entrepreneur, does that mean you don't have a family life? Or you need to compromise everything? This is a very common question I get from literally all over the globe. What do you say?
There may be a chances of where you have to spend some extra time compared to being a regular employee. But nowadays there are also, when you want to grow as an employee to the next ladder, there also you have to spend that extra effort. So it depends on the person and how you are prioritizing these two things. So there is a family and life and family time, as well as your entrepreneurship. Sometimes you give more time to, let's say, whenever there is some deadlines, or let's say you have some project which is going live, or there is a product launch, you have to spend some extra time. But once it is done, you can take some time off, spend some quality time with your family. It's not like how much time you spend, it should be the quality time which you spend with the family which is important. So I feel if you can manage your time very effectively, there is, I don't think you can compromise on family time. Yeah.
I used to love that. You know why? We used to go for movies on a Wednesday or a Thursday, on a day when we don't have much of work to do at the office, or probably it could be managed by the whole team. So that is a luxury you can get. In terms of what you said about extra time, look at the software engineers. Yeah. And I know my wife was a software engineer. Like, even in my family, I have got so many software engineers. So they work like, what? I'm talking about 16, 18, 20 hours?
True.
Being an employee, if you are really working out so long and then making somebody rich, it is also equally possible that you should do it for yourself. And it is just that, I think if you have to give a thin line difference between entrepreneurship and employee, if they find this as a magic, and if they can jump, what could be the thing?
So you mean to say what is that? Can you repeat the question?
Now I'm a just student coming out of the college. Now I have an idea.
Right.
I just feel like I really want to kind of become an entrepreneur. But one side in the campus I got a job, and the other side my heart is telling I'm going to the entrepreneur. I just really want to make sure that idea is executed. So if I need to take a decision, what would be that magic line which can give me a decision, this or this for me?
So, I mean, what I feel is you have to go with what your heart or mind says. I mean, this is a tricky question actually.
No, this is a question which I keep getting from people actually.
So, maybe you have to look at, I mean, if you believe that that product can be scaled up, there is a potential for that product, and you are going to solve some problems which is available in the market. It is not some cut and paste, or it is like you are copying somebody's product. Then you can go for it. If not, you can start your career. It's not like it's not like all entrepreneurs have started their journey by coming out of college. A lot of people have started their career in some other companies. They gain some knowledge, they understand the business, and then later they started the companies. So entrepreneurship is not just to have the company started once we come out of the college. It can happen after your 10 years of career or 20 years of career. Whenever you feel that you have an idea, it is executable, and there is a clear market, and there is nicheness, and you're solving a lot of problems, you can always be an entrepreneur. So what I would say is, identify or evaluate your idea, whether it is executable. When you have that solid idea, do it. But one beauty of being an entrepreneur right out of college is there is no risk. Only you will waste your, there is nothing you lose when you are out of college, because you learn, even if you fail, you learn out of it. If you are successful, it is good. And also you don't have any other commitments, so you have a lot of freedom, like as you said, like family time and all. So I don't need to worry on all of that. So like that, it is much easy when you are out of college, but it doesn't mean you have to do it immediately. So even sometimes what I feel is, even I suggest a lot of my friends or my cousin brothers or anyone not to do masters straight away. Do get some exposure. It can be an entrepreneurship or it may be a job, so that you get some exposure to industry. So for any entrepreneurship or any success in professional career, what I feel is we have to get this industry exposure. We have to visit industries, like how developed countries are doing is these internships. So we have to go to the companies while we are studying. We have to understand the organization structure or the cultures, how these enterprises operate. That gives us a lot of that executable plan for our ideas.
Wow. I mean, here you made a very important point. Again, he's talking about really the foundation of any entrepreneur, that is solving the problem. If you have noticed, right from the beginning, he has been really focused. If you're able to solve the problem, you're there. And the second thing, like he said, it's get exposed to the industry. And whichever thing that you want to do, like there is a book called 𝐒𝐚𝐽𝐻 by Michael Gerber. What he says is, he really likes to have, apple pie shop. And then what he does is, he just joins as a sweeper. He just wants to understand.
Yeah.
And once he gets in, within a week's time, he became a manager. And within 2 weeks or 1 month, he comes out. Just because he hates that baking smell. Who knows what is there, what is that they are going to hate, right?
Yes,
but it is good to get exposed. And even within 𝐲𝑖, we are thinking also to give some internships. But that is something which, when the plan comes, if you're not in 𝐲𝑖 or probably in UA, maybe I think get enrolled into it, so that you will know exactly when you can get such an opportunity. Because right now, how many? You have more than 800 employees, right?
Yes, yes.
And it's having to know such an industry would be really brilliant. So let me ask this question. It's a very tricky question, right? Especially because we are married, right? So, Konir Humpy, does she help you in the office in terms of the business strategy and all?
No, we keep our careers very professionally. I mean, we don't, we just inform what is happening, but it's not like I don't involve in her career or she doesn't involve in my career. So there is a clear boundary. It's not, I mean, even she doesn't like to do it. It's not like I asked her not to do it. It's like, I mean, both of us know that there is some science to it. There is some knowledge required in the industry or in chess. So there is a lot of learnings which we did in the past. So let's say if I talk about her career, she started when she was 6.
Wow.
So 6 and now I mean, so 25 years of learning. So I can't even say anything to her. Similarly, if I look at my career, it's been like 12 years. So we respect that, and we just keep, I mean, we don't interfere into each other. So, but we just discuss what's happening, how we are growing, or any problems we have. Sharing is what we do, but not like any strategic decisions. We do it together. Yeah.
And in case now I'm taking this to one level up, okay? So now when you go home, there is no option, right? So now she's a grandmaster, and I'm really inspired the way that she does it. Even my kid, she's really, really interested in chess. So now she's a grandmaster of making the strategies on it. How do you, I mean, how do you manage your strategies at home?
Yeah, that is tricky. So, I mean, I'm not that good at it actually. So, she knows all my moves. So, I can't help it.
Maybe I really want to, because you're still managing well, which means I would rather want to call you grandmaster.
I'm just able to serve it.
Wow, this is really fun. See, the beautiful time that we spend with the family,
Yeah.
I think it is really, as an entrepreneur, it is really satisfying.
Yes.
People should not have the idea that, you are going to compromise your family life for this.
Yes.
Like he said, hard work is there, whether you become an employee or an entrepreneur. It is going to be there. Second, hard work and the challenges are going to, you have to face. If you're not facing being an employee, what would happen is you will not be promoted, right? Like you exactly said. So be prepared is one of the things I've been actually learning right from the beginning when you said. But tell me one thing. If you have to take last 12 years career into one single shot and say that what is the kind of transformation and innovation you have brought in one area, what would that be?
Basically, I worked in my career almost most of it into the product innovation. So I worked in diversifying from railway focused industry to non-railway focused. I mean, we still get revenues from railways, but we want to diversify and we want to have a significant revenues from other avenues like smart cities, IoT. That's where I have contributed.
Wow. And that's a massive effort. As I see it, diversification is very important because
Yes.
you are an expert in one industry. Taking all that knowledge and applying somewhere else is again
Yes.
a service in some other industry, right?
Right, that's true.
But when you actually kind of, some of the people really, like you said, maybe they want to start in career and then move into, career as an employee and move into entrepreneurship. What is the kind of criteria you generally look when you want to take an employee?
Basically, the criteria is different for different roles. So, but generally,
In terms
in
of
any
mindset.
employee, yeah, mindset is very, very key. So, even what we as a company always give suggestion to our employees or new recruits is have a growth mindset. So, you should be having that mindset where you want to grow. So how you grow is by building the capabilities. So you have to gather the skill sets, you have to be a continuous learner. Nowadays, if you look at the technology or anything, any industry, it is changing so fast. So it's not like my 4 years degree is sufficient. You should be continuous learner as an entrepreneur or as an employee. So have that growth mindset. So if people are having it, even if they are little poor in subject or anything, we don't mind taking. So that is the quality or the attribute which we look in any employee.
Very clear. Take a growth mindset and take ownership of what you do, and you can even start your career. And I actually rather call entrepreneurship as ownership. So I always say take entrepreneurship of everything, which means
True.
they own everything, right? And okay, and I just want to ask one important question in terms of not employment, not entrepreneurship. If there is one mindset they can inculcate even while studying, which can allow them to take a decision, right? What is that? We really spoke about wide areas, wide
Yes.
aspects of this thing. If they only have to take one aspect and then say, I need to be absolutely master before I move out of the college, what is that mindset thing that you suggest?
I mean, as you rightly said, I think you said in your question itself, the mastery. So what I feel is, even if I look at a lot of successful people today, that mastery and perfection is very important. So choose some point. Let's say I look at like let's say in my own family, I see my father as well as my wife. When I observe what they do every day, they look for that perfection. In many ways, not just in their career. Let's say even if while she is doing cooking or while they're doing some design, so they always look for that perfection. So what I suggest is identify some area of your passion. So let's say you are doing an electrical engineer. Identify some core area and become a master in it, and also have a perfectionism. That means it should be like you should be 100% right, or it should be very accurate. Let's say you are a civil engineer, you are building a wall, then it should be complete straight. There shouldn't be any undulations. So like that, build that mastery and perfectionism, and that will make you do wonders as an entrepreneur or as an employee. So that's what I feel.
Very clear. He's very clear. He says,
Yeah.
make sure become mastery even in one area. Just like Sachin Tendulkar is good at only one thing, bat and ball. So, and where do you upgrade your skills? As I see you as a very continuous learner, not just as an Anvesh, also as an organization. Where do you find yourself upgrading your skills?
So we are in a field where electronics, if we look at electronics, the every 18 months, the number of transistors double. So the technology is changing so fast. Even if you look at now, it is even much faster than those 18 months. So the power of computers are increasing, or softwares is increasing. So what we do is we focus on two areas. One is on technology, and the other one is on processes. So we want to build the best technology as well as best processes. So that's where we put a lot of efforts. So even though I didn't do software programming, now I'm learning data science or AI, machine learning, because that is very important. And also in our field of or in our sector, it is very vital now. It is a game-changing technology. So that's how whatever is coming, we have to upgrade and learn continuously. Yeah.
Wow, you're a visionary. Where do you see it?
That's a big.
No, I see that because as I see it, the way that you're growing, the way that you're upgrading your employees, the way you're upgrading yourself, really amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
So where do you plan to be in next 5 years?
Basically, in next 5 years, we want to be again, we want to focus on domain specific. So railways, smart cities, and IoT. So these are the key areas we are going to focus on. And then in every area, we have a plan for next 5 years. What are the short-term goals? Like what are the next 2 years we have to read, what kind of products we have to release, or what is the next 5 years, what kind of products we have to line up. So like that, we have created a roadmap. So we want to actually, we have set some goals. Let's say in railways, let's say the goal for us is, it is very simple. Let's say today, if you look at Vijayawada to Chennai, and as an example, it is hardly 500-600 kilometers. And today, a locomotive can have a speeds of 140 kmph. That means the 600 kilometers can be covered by almost 3 hours. But still, it takes us 7 to 8 hours to reach Chennai. Similarly, 6 hours to reach Hyderabad. Why? Because there are a lot of bottlenecks in the system. So today, with the power of technology and everything, we want to ensure that we increase the average speeds of train by 20%. Let's say we are at 60%. In next 5 years, through our products and technologies, we want to make it improve by 20%. So that is the target we have set for us. Similarly, in road transport, how we can reduce the journey time of the road users, or how we can reduce the wastage of water. So these are some of the guiding principles we have set for us, and there we are building a lot of products and solutions to solve those problems. So that is the goals for us. Yeah.
Right from the vision to the execution, I can see one thing very common. If you have noticed, solve problems, solve problems, solve problems.
True.
And I always have admired, Tesla or Elon Musk, the way that
Yes.
he always looks into big problems,
Yeah.
attend them and solve them.
True.
And for me, you're not doing any less in terms of choosing one of the most challenging industry, which is railways, and then having ambitious goal of bringing down by 20% without changing the industry, but
Yes.
with readjustment into the
Yes.
infrastructure. That's really ambitious, and I wish you all the best in that.
Thank you.
And people, with that, we came to an end of very, very interesting conversations. And I would rather say, I hope you got some of the very key elements, what has made Anvish as a very successful entrepreneur from starting 12 years before, though he could have chosen to stay in US. So I want you to take up all those elements and build into your entrepreneurial journey. And Anvish, thank you so much for being part of Entrepreneurship Simplified, and your insights are really amazing. And I'm sure there will be a lot of questions, but for me, I felt Efftronics means, solve the problems.
True.
So I wish you all the success and a lot more in next 5 years and going forward.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And if you have not subscribed yet, make sure to click the subscribe button. And also, I'm going to leave the link to Efftronics. And if you're looking into smart cities or probably railways or any industry related to where IoT can be of help, make sure to contact them. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video.